At the risk of giving people take whiplash after just bashing the Red Sox plan for the past 30 minutes, I want to get into our predictions on this Red Sox season
We're
because
all very bullish on the Red
shockingly, I
Sox.
think we are all very, very high on them. So just to take it around the horn real quick, I want you guys to, as succinctly as possible, not just in like not in like one word, but like as succinctly as possible, give me a your realistic and B your ideal, like if everything cuts the right way, prediction for the Red Sox. I think realistic, like at the very minimum, they are absolutely going to be in the playoff race, in my opinion. I think they're going to be in the division race. I think they're going to be a wild card team. That's my realistic. Things don't even have to go perfectly, in my opinion, or they shouldn't even have to go perfectly for that to be the case. Ideal. I think they're a very real contender for the pennant. I just I they they have the pitching, they have the depth as we've been talking about. Their depth has almost been a curse. And if everyone is healthy and happy, among their star players, they have the high end talent as well. I don't know how you guys see it from both the realistic and an idealistic standpoint.
Yeah, I think for me, realistic, make the playoffs. Like I think they have, and then I'm just sort of assuming relative good health, right? Like you never know how that's going to go, but let's just say they stay relatively healthy. I think they have to make the playoffs. There's no excuse not to with that roster, and everything go well, be in the ALCS. They're built both in terms of their rotation, both in terms of their defensive flexibility, and in terms of the long relief, the quality of long relief arms they have. Maybe they don't have a bona fide closer yet. That can sort itself out as the year goes on, but they have the starting pitching depth and the long relief guys to really succeed in the postseason. We know Cora likes doing the rovers and mixing and matching that way. Like they are built to play the way that Alex Cora wants them to in the playoffs. So I think getting into the ALCS, at least getting there, is that's a really good outcome. But if nothing else, I think they have to make the playoffs.
We haven't even gotten into the fact that Liam Hendricks is getting his teeth kicked in every time he goes out. Um, which brings me back to my take that Justin Slayton should be the closer. But in any event,
Might be by the midseason. I think that's entirely possible.
he might be by the end of April. If Hendricks doesn't pick up quickly. So I think their floor is third in the East in making the wild card. Like that's I think anything beneath that would be um, a massive disappointment. Like I think we're all in agreement they have to make the playoffs this year. I don't think it's far fetched to say they could win the division.
I think they
Um,
should. I think they're the favorites, especially with
I,
Garrett Cole going undergoing
yeah,
Tommy John. I think the Red Sox should be the favorites.
they are. I mean, the only advantage the Yankees really had, like it wasn't in the lineup, so it was in pitching, and their bullpen is not as good as it's been, and their rotation now is decimated. I mean, they might not even have Clark Schmidt to begin the year, so like that's three of their guys. I mean, freaking Marcus Stroman, they were trying to trade to anyone that would take him, and he's going to be like their three starter now. So and like the Rays are coming off of a bad year. They finally have all their pitching healthy, so like the Rays will be better. The Blue Jays, who knows what's happening with them? But if they have a bad first half, they're probably just going to fire sale. And the Orioles, like we keep thinking there's going to be this rapid ascension for them. And it's like they kind of got the like, are they hitting their ceiling? Are they like a low to mid 90s win team? They lost Corbin Burns. So like the AL East is still probably the best division in baseball, but it has gotten a little weaker around them. So barring um, widespread injuries or just massive underperformance, I think it's highly plausible and should be the primary goal to at least win the division. And once you get to that point, this feels like a team that's actually pretty well designed to compete in the playoffs. Like you think about the rotation component of things, it's like this team with a short rotation would be great if it's just Crochet Hauk Bueller. Like I would totally trust that in an early playoff series. So, I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh yeah, they're definitely winning the World Series or they should win the World Series. But I do think that the pieces are there for them to threaten pretty much any team in the league.
So I think one thing I'll quickly add, I think one of the biggest variables in the AFC East this season, or the AFC East, the AL East this season, is where the Rays are playing. They're playing at Steinbrenner Field, the spring training field, and so I know the dimensions are comparable to a major league field, but like, how does that play out? Like, does it feel like a bandbox when they're in there and the offense takes off? Do visiting teams feel the same way when they come in and they're like, this is just being in a spring training park feels like they can just launch all the time? Or like, what about the humidity? Like, it's going to be insane in that park. And do the Rays have the advantage because they're used to it being there most of the time? Where, I mean, I know it's humid up here too and other parts of the country, but Southern Florida is different. And I think that's a factor. Like, I just, how the Rays home field situation affects things, especially if the division's competitive when it's just a matter of a few games. I think that could be a big part of it.
I mean, not to mention the fact that I think in July and August they're playing like 34 or 51 games on the road or something like that. Like they're gonna have a weird year. Now, granted, because they're playing at Steinbrenner Field, it's modeled a little bit after Yankee Stadium, so they're gonna be helped by the short porch and right there
Right.
too. So that changes things a little bit too. Giveth and taketh away. But
So as of right now at the sports book I'm looking at, the Yankees are still the favorites for the American League East. The Red Sox are third.
Behind the Orioles.
Yeah, which I think is I know the Yankees always get kind of that sentimental bump. But they're also the Yankees, their over under for win total is
it's gotta be like 88.
88 and a half. And the Red Sox is 86 and a half. So
that's
sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just shaking my head.
I'm just shaking my head at that too. Like, what about this Yankees team? I mean, so Stanton, we might never see Stanton again. The top end of their rotation's fried with the exception of Max Fried. Like, I don't get what this could be a bad year for the Yankees.
Yeah. And I also just think like the people who set these over-unders for these teams, like I know the Red Sox ultimately ended up hitting, I think, right on the mark last year for their over-under for wins. I think it was right there, like 82 or whatever. But like I remember when that came out before spring training, and I was like, this is not an 81 win team. Like they have the talent if they stay healthy to win over 90 games. And I mean, this isn't revisionist history. They played like that for much of the season, and if it wasn't for like 3 key injuries, that was not an 82 win team. So I just think I don't know, the people. I just don't put any stock into the people that set those because I don't think they really know what they're looking at.
I don't either. I want to say, and Ben, if you still have these up, I think I saw that the Rays were like 81 and a half and the Blue Jays were like 78 and a half. It's like, I get it. Some team in the division's going to have to lose, but they reduced the divisional schedule. So it's not like, just by virtue of being in a good division, you're going to, walk yourself into like 40 losses.
Yeah,
but
78 and a half for the Blue Jays. Although I think I can't remember which one of you said it. I think there's a very real possibility of like a May, June, maybe not May, but like a June, July fire sale for that club. So I think you gotta keep that in mind that it might be, they might be like a 500 team tracking for until midsummer, but then from late July on, we might be looking at a Pittsburgh Pirates, Chicago White Sox caliber club in Toronto there.
That team is all veterans that you can dump at the deadline. It's Barrios, Gossman, Scherzer. Like, you can tell that they're trying to compete, but they're also safeguarding for the fact that if things go sideways, Vladdy's not going to want to come back and they're going to have to start selling off pieces. So that, and the Rays too. I mean, if the Rays are only hovering around 500 at the deadline, they're going to sell. So there's just there's a lot of talk about how good the East is, but there are very reachable variables here that could set some of these teams out. Like, a lot of teams are on the precipice of, entering rebuilds. The freaking Rays have, they were a 99 win team in 2023, and Isaac Paredes is gone. Randy Arozarena is gone. You go down the list. They obviously missed McClanahan last year, and they get him back. But like, the Red Sox, Orioles, and Yankees are probably the only teams that you can lock in as like they're probably going to go pedal to the metal the whole year long.
My just random Red Sox prediction. I don't know if it's a bold prediction, but I think Marcelo Meyer spends the entire year in AAA until rosters expand in September, because I think it takes both of a Trevor Story and a Rafaela injury for him to get up. Um, and he also has a lot of things to work on. His platoon splits are
He
really
needs to
bad.
play
So
more.
yeah, so it wouldn't surprise me. Like I think Campbell starts the season on the roster. Anthony's up at sometime in May or so, and I think Meyer stays down there all year.
I think, this is really lined up Red Sox Yankees wise to be a very fun season. It at first glance, when I saw the schedule and I saw that they were not playing against each other for the first 2 months of the year and not playing each other until June, I was like, well, that's stupid. I still think it's stupid. I mean, that they don't play each other more often. I want the heavy divisional rivalries back, but I get what MLB's doing. They're tracking towards getting rid of the American National League. But I digress. I think by the time that first Yankees Red Sox series comes around on June 6th, and then they play each other again at Fenway the following weekend, I think there's a possibility like we're going to know where those two teams are headed. I think both of them will still be in the race to an extent, because I don't think the Yankees injuries is going to catch up with them to that point yet, although their rotation is already decimated. And then I look at it as like, then they play again in late August and again in mid-September. I think there's a real potential for this to feel like an old Red Sox Yankee season this year.
Yeah. It's too bad the Red Sox like really lack an asshole. Like I mean they have a role as Chapman, but I'm thinking in terms of like, like Pedro, you could count on like stirring shit up.
I don't know. I think
Crochet can fill that, and Bregman.
I think Bregman is kind.
Yeah, so Bregman can fill that.
And I mean,
Bregman's an asshole.
Yeah,
You're right.
and
I remember that
right.
from when he was an Astro.
I mean that. Yeah,
But,
that's a compliment to him. Yeah.
I know nothing about Crochet's makeup because he's been either recovering from Tommy John surgery or playing for a terrible White Sox team. So I can buy that he might have that edge, but I need to see it first.
What are the odds that by midseason, Roman Anthony has like the Emperor as his nickname?
Yeah, there's going to be some stupid Red Sox
instead of like the all rise for
Roman Anthony.
Yeah, and instead of like the all rise in Yankee Stadium, it's going to be like the scene from The Gladiator, where when Roman Anthony comes up, everyone goes the thumbs up, like Joaquin Phoenix or something. I don't know. That's where my mind goes. I spend too much time thinking about possible nicknames.
No, you know what, Dakota? For once, you've led us into a perfect segue, because the absolutely cringy broadcast nicknames or hackneyed, whatever you want to call it, is a great way to move into our thoughts on the state of the Celtics broadcasts.